You are listening to a Fangirls Going Rogue priority transmission.
All team, give it everything you got!
It's time to fangirl flail with Fangirls Going Rogue.
Count me in. I don't think there's anything more important in the Star Wars universe than the fans.
News, discussion, and commentary from the female point of view.
You call this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
With your hosts, Teresa Delgado, Tricia Barr, and Sarah Woloski.
Boy, am I glad to hear your voice.
Strap in, because this is where the fun begins.
I like the sound of that.
Welcome to the special priority transmission of Fangirls Going Rogue. It has been Force Friday, and we are here to talk all about that, as well as some other super awesome stuff. And I can't do it alone. With me is Tricia Barr from Fangirl Blog. You are back from California? Yes.
Back from California, back from adventure, and I had to wake up from a nap for this.
Because you got no sleep.
not a lot of sleep. But no, it was all worth it. You don't realize it when it's happening. And it was fun to see everybody at Disneyland and John Williams and all those things.
And also with us, you heard her already, Sarah Woloski from Skywalking Through Neverland. You did not have to travel, so you should be fresh and ready to go.
Yes, I am bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And excited to talk about all that happened on Force Friday, because so much happened. Because speaking of John Williams at the Hollywood Bowl, this happened to coincide with Force Friday, and we didn't even know. So we had already scheduled to go on September 1st, and that happened to be Force Friday. So everything just kind of crazy dovetailed all together.
The miracles of Star Wars. Well, since we're talking about it, why don't you guys sort of take us through what happened and how it was, and how Tricia doesn't know Harry Potter music, and
it's a joke.
Spoilers or something.
Yeah, Rick Peralta said he was just thinking the whole time as they're running footage and playing the songs from Harry Potter that I was getting spoiled, but it was okay. I didn't know what was happening except that he was flying on a bird thing.
Yeah, you're not spoiled at all. There's no way that you're spoiled because you have no idea what any of it means.
The context, exactly.
Yeah, and it's not a bird.
They played a particular moment with Voldemort, and it's like, oh well, but she didn't know what happened, so
she doesn't. Was it a hippogriff or was he on a thestral?
No, it was the hippogriff.
It was the hippogriff? Yeah. Okay. Like the Titanic moment?
Yes, absolutely.
That's exactly what I thought. I was like, where's Jack?
Oh, that's so funny. I was thinking about Titanic when at the end John Williams walks off the stage, and I'm like, come back. And then he comes back for like 4 more encores. But you know what, Tricia, since this is your first time seeing John Williams and your first time at the Hollywood Bowl, can you take us through from a first-timer point of view?
Well, the Hollywood Bowl was very hot. I don't think that's normally the case at that time of night. But when we sat down, it read 93 on my phone. So that was particularly awesome, except that it was Florida. So, but their breeze did come in. It got better later on. And I didn't have any expectations. I knew it wouldn't be all Star Wars music. So I had kind of looked that up. So it was David Newman who directed the first half, right, Sarah?
Yes. So David Newman did conduct the first half of the concert. Now, this is something that just started last year. Normally, John Williams would do the whole concert, but I think, he's getting a little older. And so he's just going to do the second half. So the first half, David Newman, he loves film music. You can tell. He is a film composer himself. And of course, his father's Alfred Newman. And he knows so much about it. And he loves to bring out the older film music. So like March from the Adventures of Robin Hood by Korngold. That was the opening. And then they actually did play a John Williams piece, Night Journeys from Dracula. And then selections from Dr. Zhivago, and Kathy's theme from Wuthering Heights. And then the last one before intermission was, what's the singer?
Judy Garland.
Thank you, Judy Garland. They played her singing Born in a Trunk from A Star is Born with the film playing and then the orchestra accompanying her soundtrack. So that was interesting. But it was like 10 minutes long or something ridiculous.
It was a long song. It was.
Yes.
She keeps going on and on and on. It was her whole life story in 10 minutes. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure we needed the rest of the movie.
I know. No, not at all.
I was born in a trunk in a princess theater.
I actually loved Judy Garland, and it was beautiful. You could tell that it was kind of totally his film geek thing.
Yes.
But the one thing you noticed, if you listened to all the songs that he did, that you could kind of see where the inspiration, you could kind of hear hints of things that have come later on in John Williams' music, how it's so influenced by each other.
Yes.
And, you know, they talked about the 30s were kind of when they figured out what they were going to do with scoring and why it mattered, because now there was talking and they didn't know how much they would use music. And you could see the influences of how it's continued on and how we still experience music in movies today, why they matter so much.
Exactly. So then after intermission, John Williams comes out on stage. So Tricia, what were your thoughts?
He was wearing a black turtleneck.
Yep.
And it was hot. That was what I noticed. But then it was just like, oh my God, he's here. And then am I going to recognize the song? And then at first I didn't recognize the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a little piece in that music, and everybody's like, "Oh, Indiana Jones music," and everybody started clapping. But it was a song from an Indiana Jones movie, just not one that maybe most of us are familiar with.
Yes, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and they played The Adventures of Mutt.
Yes, I love that movie. No, I'm serious though. I'm not joking. I actually do really like the Crystal Skull.
Yeah. So. I thought it was a fun ride, but I actually fangirled because I got that it was it's The Adventures of Mutt from Crystal Skull right before he played that little Indiana Jones the main theme lick in that song. So I was like, yes, I'm awesome. So
the best was everybody when the Indiana Jones little theme comes into it. Mm-hmm. Everybody applauded and he grinned.
Yes.
And you see it on the screen where he's like, oh, now they know what song that is.
It was like this little mischievous grin. Like, oh, it was great.
It was. So, Teresa, if you could pick 3 songs, because he only picks 3 songs in his main show for Star Wars, what would you want to hear?
The main Harry Potter theme.
No, just Star Wars songs.
Oh, well, that's not fair. What is that garbage?
We're getting to the meat of it.
Yes.
You're making me think about something I wasn't prepared to think about. Duel of the Fates.
Okay.
Rey's theme.
Nice.
I was going to say the song at the very beginning of The Force Awakens because I really like that one because it's almost kind of Star Trek-ish from the first Star Trek movie, but not quite. You know, but it has like it's kind of cool. But then I feel like I need to go back to some of the other movies, but no, those 3 because those are the 3 that popped off the top of my head.
Well, you would have gotten one of your songs,
Rey.
Yes,
Rey's theme. Yes. So, and Sarah, what were the other 2?
So the first one he played was Scherzo for X-Wings from The Force Awakens, which was nice. Although I don't know if I would have quite picked that one, but it was fun. And then he played Throne Room and Finale from, I believe, just the original Star Wars. Because didn't they play Leia's theme in there?
Yes.
Yeah, so it was the original Star Wars.
And Rey's theme. So
and
those
Rey's
3.
Theme. Yes.
Yeah, and he talks about how he loves Rey so much in there. I think he has a crush on her or something.
Oh, yeah. And then he played 3 selections from Harry Potter.
Okay, can I pick my 3?
Yes.
Okay, so kind of a combo of Harry's Wondrous World with the Lumos from the beginning of Prisoner of Azkaban. Okay. So, like, those two. And then Mischief Managed from the end of Prisoner of Azkaban. And then probably Platform 9 3/4 or Diagon Alley.
Okay.
I don't know which one.
Well, you would have gotten kind of like half a one. Because he did
okay,
play.
What did he play?
He played, so he focused on Chamber of Secrets. And I know.
Worst one of the three. Come on.
I know, but you know what? Earlier in the summer for a Hollywood Bowl, they actually did the whole soundtrack to Chamber of Secrets to the movie. So I can see why.
Okay, then he picked. Then if he did this, then he picked probably Fox, the Fox song, and Dobby.
Okay, so you're incorrect. So
darn it. Flying car.
So he did play Harry's Wondrous World.
Okay.
And then he played, and he was kind of got a kick out of this. He played Aunt Marge's Waltz.
Oh, nice.
And then he did the Chamber of Secrets with film. So it was kind of a mishmash. So I'm sure they did have little Fox in there. So they had a kind of a jumble of the songs from Chamber of Secrets. So yeah, that's what they did for Harry Potter, which I was excited because September 1st is the day that Harry Potter, and all his friends go on the Hogwarts train to Hogwarts.
Right, but Aunt Marge's Waltz isn't from Chamber of Secrets. That's from Azkaban.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I thought he said the second film. All right, well, maybe he was confused. That's okay.
I'm afraid. And
he's allowed to be confused.
Yes. That's okay. Okay, so are any of you basketball fans?
Yeah. I am. I mean, are we talking college, pro? What are we talking?
Pro.
Okay, I can do pro.
Okay, because the next piece after Harry Potter threw all of us music lovers for a loop. They actually had... So, okay, John Williams, after he was finished with Harry Potter, comes up to the mic and says, so, a little while ago, Kobe Bryant calls me up. Do you know who Kobe Bryant is?
Yes.
Okay, Lakers champion.
Lakers.
Everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Kobe Bryant wrote this poem when he was retiring called Dear Basketball. And he called John Williams up because he wanted him to score a short film that was being illustrated by Glenn Keane and animated by Glenn Keane. And so basically John Williams was going to play Dear Basketball with a special guest narrating. Who was that special guest?
Kobe Bryant!
Exactly.
That's cool.
It was cool. I'm sure, I would have been super excited had I been a Lakers fan, but there was plenty of Lakers fans in the audience who were like, yay! So it was pretty fun.
That would have gotten a pop from me.
I actually was bawling during that.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I was bawling. Kobe Bryant would have gone to Duke University, except that he decided to forego any college ball, and he's been friends with the Duke basketball coach. So I'm more into college basketball, but hearing him read it and just seeing all the opportunities it gave him just talking about that was during his farewell year. And it was really emotional because you could hear the emotion in Kobe Bryant's voice still.
I played through the sweat and the hurt, not because challenge called me, but because you called me. I did everything for you, because that's what you do when someone makes you feel as alive as you made me feel. You gave a 6-year-old boy his childhood dream, and I'll always love you for that. But I can't love you obsessively for much longer. This season is all I have left to give. My heart can take the pounding, my mind can handle the grind. But my body knows it's time to say goodbye. And that's okay. I'm ready to let you go.
It was kind of like the getting old, and I'm still here for it. And so I was absolutely bawling during it.
Oh.
which nobody noticed, but it was really cool. And I'm sure, well, I mean, because of the audience and, the LA crowd, it had a,
it went over well.
Yes, it did go over well there. So I really liked it.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yay. So then at this point, he played the Star Wars selections.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all that's in the program. But then, as usual, he did about 3 encores. So I'm trying to remember what they were. So we got Imperial March, right?
Yes. And he did Superman.
Yes, Superman. Oh, the theme from Superman. I was like, yes, the best Superman.
And he did E.T.
And
that would make sense.
He always finishes with E.T. But he also did Sabrina.
Yes, that was kind of
That was
the
random.
first Sabrina movie, right?
So we're not sure, actually. I think it might have been from his score from like the 96 Sabrina.
Oh, okay.
But he mentioned Audrey Hepburn. So we were confused. But
who happens to look a lot like Daisy Ridley.
Yeah. Ooh.
So he might, and he talked about how he thought he liked her. He did mention he liked Audrey Hepburn. So maybe he has a thing for brunettes. I don't know.
Maybe.
Fine. Whatever. No. Yeah. So it was great. And despite it being the hottest it has ever been at the Hollywood Bowl, I'm really sorry about that, Tricia.
It's all right. It was so fun. It was just really hot.
Yes. Like usually it gets down to the 70s. You're nice and cool. You almost need a blanket. But no.
And
not that day.
One of my other favorite things just from the whole experience was everybody was coming in with their lightsabers and they started waving them, obviously, when Star Wars music was playing. But there were members of the orchestra who had lightsabers. And they actually picked them up and were giving John Williams a salute after they played with him. So that was really cool to see. So can you imagine being like a fan and getting to do that?
Amazing.
You know what would have been cool?
What?
If the string instruments bows had like a glow thing on the top of them that they could turn on. That would have been sweet.
That would be cool. Wow.
That would be cool.
As a violinist, I would have loved that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did do some recording because this happened to be the Skywalking meetup. So we had about 45 Skywalkers there in one little group watching this Hollywood Bowl. And we did some recording after. So if you want to hear that, you have to head to episode 183 of Skywalking Through Neverland to hear more about our adventures.
I think we're going to have like a huge collecting corner this episode.
So, you guys ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
So, Force Friday came and went. And it was a magical day that lasted a really long time and made me super tired. And I got to the end of the day and had to go to a football game and I was dead.
Wow.
So, but Force Friday was really just an extraordinary event for me here in Texas. But there was so much stuff going on. So first, let's talk about Clair Henry. She is our Fangirls Going Rogue Ambassador. That's what I'm calling her. And we sent her to the big PoZu event that was happening in London. And if you want to see the tweets and pictures she sent out, look for hashtag FGGR PoZu. And she got to see the Rey tall boot for the first time.
I know.
And she was so excited. I mean, she was so excited. She had her Universe blazer on. She had her PoZu. Does she have the white ones, right?
Yes.
The PoZu white shoes, and she was, we talked about her outfit, she and I actually, and she was trying to pick out what she was going to wear, and she was just so pumped for it, and I'm so glad we got to send her to that. But what did you guys think about the stuff that she showed us?
I like all of it.
Right? I know that. Well, that silver sneaker right? There's
the
that
limited
one.
edition.
Yes, that's amazing. And I know that silver goes with everything in my wardrobe, so I'm kind of like, But the Rey high boot is just amazing, and I think it's on my Christmas list.
You think?
But you need it for what you do for your job.
I think it's the only thing on my Christmas list. But yes, I need it.
And they are the Rey high boots. They really are the Rey high boots. It's not like the silverish high tops are sort of, you could be like kind of inspired by Phasma. These are the Rey high boots that she will wear in The Last Jedi. As she accompanies possibly The Last Jedi on an adventure. Whatever he is. But yeah, I'm excited for those. I kind of had heard people wondering if they were going to do a boot like that and get it out there early. So yay!
They're super smart to do that.
I think so, because everybody will have them, and it's fall. It's coming into fall, and like one good pair of tall boots is all you need. So,
Absolutely.
They can last forever. So that was definitely fun. And then, did y'all see the Bring Your Rey Game ad from Target?
Yes, I did. It was amazing. I loved it.
Yay, got me chills. I know. Yay.
I remember that Kay from Fangirl, she wrote a whole article on it, because remember, we were like, where's Rey last time? Remember that? We had the hashtag where's Rey? And this time it wasn't just like, where's Rey? It's all these people with Sia, Unstoppable, in the background. It's like you have to have Sia in a power ballad for anything now. So it was all perfect.
No, it was really good. And one of the coolest things is if you went to Target, there were the buttons that you could get, the Bring Your Rey Game buttons. And I believe there was even like a little drawstring bag. I never saw the drawstring bag in person, but I did see pictures of it. And people were able to get those buttons. And I think some people even got them from non-midnight events. Like they actually had them at the register so that when they checked out, they would, if there was some left over, they could hand them out.
Oh man,
when people bought Star Wars stuff.
I didn't get any of those. How sad. Did you guys score any of those?
I did. I have a whole set of the Bring Your Rey Game, the Rey silhouette, and then the Target with the Star Wars, or the Star Wars logo with the little Target symbol. And then I have 2 more Bring Your Rey Games and another white one.
Nice.
I kept going, I don't have a button. Can I have a button?
That's smart.
Did I get a button?
I did not get any buttons. Were there posters there too at
There
Target?
were not. There were posters at Toys R Us.
Okay.
So there's a reason that I went in the order that I went in. And there was also more reasons. We'll get there. Not quite there yet.
So in our Facebook group, we actually asked all of our listeners what they did for Force Friday and what they got, and please post pictures. And so here is a comment from Isla Edgar Desarn, and she said, I went to Force Friday event at Target and got the backpack and pins, and they drew the number before me and the number after my husband for the giant porg. Oh no.
Oh man.
But I got the pillow porg, the animated porg, and a few Funko Pop figures on Friday night. It was well organized, and they did have a fair amount of stock, except for the 6-inch Black Series. So that's pretty cool. It's good to know, like, how the stock was. Like, what did you guys experience?
Well, let's just say that... Oh, I don't even know how to say this in a nice way. Okay, so... Hasbro is great about stocking anything that's not Black Series. They don't give a crap about the fact that people want Black Series. So there's 3 3/4 inch all over the place and a bunch of their other stuff. But then where are the Black Series figures? And the interesting thing about Target was that it was set up where you could go to the Star Wars aisle and what was there were remnants and things, but you had to go to the seasonal special aisle where all of the Star Wars stuff was. And that's where all the books were and clothes and everything. And at the very back of the aisle, in the 2 Targets I went to, on the back wall was a Black Series display, and it was only the top part. It like had 3 tiers, and it was only the top tier that had any boxes of Black Series in it.
Wow.
I was just like, seriously? And then the Toys R Us I went to only got in 1 case of Black Series. What?
I can tell you where they all went.
Yep, me too. Go ahead, Tricia.
They were at World of Disney for sure.
Oh God, really?
Yes.
They were handing out the Black Series, and then they just stopped giving up. They would just bring the boxes out and slash them open and just let people.
Oh wow!
You know, if you knew the number you wanted, right? Because at least in theirs, if it was like Hera, then it was a box of Heras, not random different things. So they were just the employees gave up, but everybody got what they wanted, and there was still plenty on the shelves 2 days later.
Wow.
Okay, so Bianca Gallagly-Horkin, she posted a picture with her porg, which she called a porcini. It says he's very photogenic. And she said not so much, but I think she looks great. So did anybody get porgs, and how many porgs did you get?
I think porgs were like the thing for Force Friday, and I saw porg everything on my Twitter feed. I think everybody's picture had a porg for the most part. I ended up buying 8 things that were porg related.
Wow. What about you, Tricia?
Not sure how many, but there was definitely a Chewie with porgs, so the Funko, and there was a 3 3/4 of him, or was it a Black Series with him?
There's a 3 3/4.
Yes, then I got that, and I have the little wobbly one and the little one that from the Disney store. But I guess Target had one that makes noises.
Yes,
and
I have that one.
Yeah, so by the time I got to Target, it was not in there. So I wanted the one that makes noises. And then I don't know if anybody bought. I saw some people that won the big one. So like Jay Shaw.
You could win them?
Yeah, that was the raffle. If you were at the Target when, right? Teresa?
Yeah, the giant porg was the raffle item this year for the Force Friday stuff. So there was like 2 per store, I think. And I may be wrong, but I think Kyle Newman won one.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
So I have one porg. I have the fuzzy porg from the Disney store. But what's funny is I wasn't like, I liked the porgs when they first came out. Then I got a little over porged with all the social media leading into Force Friday. And then I walked into a Toys R Us at midnight and I saw porgs lined up on the shelf, and I was like, oh, I like let out an audible gasp, and I loved porgs. So from then on, I've been a porg fan because they're just so cute.
They are super cute. So I got the Target porg that makes noise that a lot of people are looking for, because it does actually have fur, almost like feathers and stuff. So it's I would say it's realistic for what, I mean, I don't know how accurate that is, but it's the most realistic of all of the plush that I've seen.
Do you have your porg around nearby, the little stuffed one? Can you the one that makes the noise?
Okay. All right. So he's right here. This is Puddle. So I now have Puddle and Pippin because I have 2 stuffed ones.
Oh.
So Puddle and Pippin. This is Puddle. That's his scream.
Wow.
Okay, hang on. He does something else that's not the scream. He does this. Okay.
Is there a different way that you make him do different noises?
No, I think he just alternates between the 2. You just squeeze his tummy. Now, it's cool that his mouth does kind of open, so if you squeeze him in the right place when he's talking, you can make his mouth open.
Oh.
He's probably the best of all the plush. The Disney store plush is great because he's so super soft. But out of all of them, and I'm a big plush connoisseur, this one's probably the best. I couldn't bring myself to get some of the other ones that were smooth, because they just kind of looked a little bit more roundy than I wanted them to.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the Disney Store one and this one from Target were probably the best two. And this Target one is by a company named 720. Mm-hmm. And I actually got a tweet from them before Forest Friday, and I was talking about plush porgs or something, and they said, wait until you see ours. And I think they were right. And on the tag, it actually says life-size porg. So I think this is how big it's supposed to be.
Oh, life-size porg. Well, 720 also makes the oversized 3-foot tall porg.
Whoa.
Yeah, which is the one that we couldn't talk about last time, but we can talk about. I actually hugged one of them. They do make noises as well. That's what I got to see at Lucasfilm when they did the AR unveiling, was that 3-foot porg, which is like the coolest thing ever. Not saying that I want one, but I would really, really, really want one.
Now, okay, so do you want the oversized giant stuffed porg or the PoZu Rey high boots more?
No, you can't make me choose.
I am making you choose.
I'm going to go with the Teresa Hedge and say both.
Whatever.
So here's something that I thought would be really cool because of that giant porg we were looking at. And I said, you know what would be really neat is if the giant porg was actually like a beanbag chair and you could sit in its stomach. You know,
it's coming. It's got to be coming.
And every time you sit in it, it makes the noise.
It goes. Oh man, I threw Puddle over there. Yeah, he makes the noise.
Although that would be annoying if you're like shifting around.
Yeah, that would be. There has to be like an off switch.
Allison Barrios shared also in that discussion group that her son made a video just showing all the noises and what there's the porg that rolls around too. Mm-hmm. Did a little video of that one, which I've also seen videos of people introducing those to their cats.
Oh, yes. So not those, but I tried showing Puddle to the cats the next morning. And they were like, I am having nothing to do with this thing, whatever that is. Aww. And they just like walked away from him.
So yours is named Puddle and
I have Puddle and Pippin.
Okay. And I have Hoojib. Because porgs should really be Hoojibs. And then Tricia, what's yours?
Porglet.
And then Sandra has Georgie. Yes. The porgy.
That's cute. And I thought of naming mine Bess. Like Porgy and Bess, but I didn't.
Oh, that would have been cute too.
Yeah.
So what I'm noticing as I kind of scroll through here, people that did pick up porg-related items, let us see here. So we know Bianca, she got a couple. Dante DeMille, it looks like he got the pop vinyl. Joey Pittman, Allison Barrios. There's a real cute picture from Michelle Bell, and it was for her niece. And her niece is standing in the cart at Target holding this porg, hugging him.
And it's about her size. It's like,
yes,
the face is almost bigger than her face.
Yes.
That's so adorable. And also, I believe our admin, Patty Hammond, she mentioned that, of course, her favorite item from Force Friday was the stuffed porg.
Yes, and hers is the Disney Store version, which the Disney Store version is that like super soft, very almost silky kind of fur. And so I have two for two specific reasons. So Pippin, I can cuddle and hug and sleep with because he doesn't make noise. And Puddle's more of like a display porg because if I sleep with him and he goes off in the middle of the night, it's going to freak everyone out.
Good planning there.
The one thing I noticed was, you remember how it used to be there was like one bedspread set that you could get for Star Wars, and this Force Friday, they seem to have unleashed like a million different bedroom sets, pajamas. So I guess they're letting us do our bedrooms. Any color, any dark side, light side, whatever you want, you can do it now in bedroom set.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot. And lots of different pillowcases and all kinds of stuff. I was like, that's really neat.
I know Sarah got a pillow at least from one of the bed sets.
Yes. Oh, is that what you were leading into?
I was.
So I got to go to Target on Saturday. So it had been kind of picked over. But the first thing I saw in that special section was the Forces of Destiny pillow. The same pillow that I had seen at D23 Expo and fell in love with and posted a picture on Instagram that went like viral because everyone thought it's amazing. So it's in the shape of the Rebel Alliance symbol. And on one side, it's sparkly purple fabric. I mean, you can't go wrong with sparkly purple fabric. And then on the other side, you have all different silhouettes of Star Wars. So you have Leia, Millennium Falcon, BB-8, lightsabers, Sabine, R2, like all these silhouettes that are in various gradients of yellow through orange, through pink, through blue and purple, just like all the Forces of Destiny packaging colors. And I love it. It's my friend. I posted a picture of the pillow and all my Forces of Destiny dolls approved. I love it.
I know, it was pretty cute.
Yeah.
There's a porg pillow too.
Oh, really?
But he's really more just a porg.
Okay.
But he's part of the bedding set. So there is another porg out there that you can get, but you have to go look under bedding to find it.
Oh.
Well, I was going to say there were some giveaways. We were talking about the Rey buttons at Target. Toys R Us had the Funko shirt, which is the reason I went to Toys R Us first, was because there was a Funko Pop t-shirt that has Rey, Luke, and a Porg on it. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet shirt. I like it. The only problem is that the smallest they go down to is a medium, so I always end up wearing these as like pajama shirts. And then they had their exclusive poster, and if I have this correct, Toys R Us is doing an exclusive poster each month leading up to The Force Awakens. Ooh. And so this one is actually a bunch of walkers. It's pretty cool. I'm looking at it. It's behind me, and it's kind of like on that planet with the red stuff that like explodes in the trailer.
Crate.
Yes. And then the Disney store also had a set of posters that you could get, and they came kind of like the lithographs do. They're in like an envelope, and it says Star Wars The Last Jedi. And inside of it, for me, not everybody got all 6, were these 6 red posters, character posters that we've seen online already.
Oh, cool.
So I have all 6 of those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
like the Leia, Luke.
Yeah, where
Rey,
you can only see
Kylo.
like the bottom of their face.
Yep.
Yes, those.
Wow.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so that was a really neat thing. So you guys, you went to Toys R Us and you went with some of the Jedi News people?
Yeah, so, well, Tricia, you stayed in line at the Disney store, downtown Disney, but Richard and I ran off with James Burns to a Toys R Us in the area, and got to go in actually before midnight to take pictures of the shelves and kind of get, some video of people coming in at midnight as well. So that's kind of fun to see. If you go to our YouTube channel, Skywalking Through Neverland YouTube, you will see the live video of that and people walking in and like what they were gravitating toward. And there was that land speeder, the little land speeder that's good for people up to 130 pounds, I think. Yeah, and Richard so wanted to drive it around, but it was on display and he couldn't get it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so that was really fun. And James Burns, of course, is from JediNews.co.uk, so that's why we got to go in before midnight.
Right. And speaking of James Burns, it just happened to come up this weekend, so I just want to give a shout out to Burns and Mark Newbold. I got to see the 2015 Tom Felton documentary where he went into the life of a superfan. And in that film, right towards the end, when Tom Felton dresses up as a stormtrooper, James Burns and Mark Newbold are in the background. So if you get a chance to watch that, keep your eyes open because they are in it.
Nice.
All right. Now, was there anything that you guys got that was non-Porg?
Just my Forces of Destiny pillow.
Tricia?
I mean, I got a few other of these things. I was, different action figures. I got the Rose and Paige one because I thought that was important, especially since we're talking about representation. And it was exciting to see them on the shelf. And I got a shirt. But, most of the stuff I just noticed in the store, most of the stuff that I liked, like from her universe and some of the other places, weren't available in the stores right away. So you're going to have to go online to get some of the like fashion-y stuff. So that was kind of my, oh, I'm looking at all this, but I don't see any of it in the stores in time. So, and we got Phasma and the Leia books as well, which to try to kind of, what are you going to read first? Leia, that's what I'm reading first. So we'll definitely talk about that some other time.
Yes. Well, that's actually what I got. I used my Audible credit for it, was for Leia. So I did pick up Hot Wheels cars because, as you guys know, I collect the character cars. So I got the 2-pack of Rey in Jedi training and Luke. And I also got the Hera Black Series figure. And probably my favorite thing that I got is the Art of Coloring book from Katie Cook. So it's all her cutesy Star Wars art. Aww. And it's kind of neat because she goes through each of the movies and she does have some coloring panels from The Last Jedi. And the very last one is Chewie in the cockpit of the Falcon with porgs all around him. It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
Have you seen the Star Wars blip with the porg in the cockpit?
Yes, that was so awesome.
I don't even know, like, they just started putting those up on StarWars.com randomly. They're like, what, a minute long little animations?
Like and today, right?
Yeah, and you could unlock that on your AR. So that was one of the things. But then I guess about a day after they were unlockable, they showed up anyway. But you could share them if you unlocked them, which took me a while to figure out how to share them, but I did. So did you guys use the AR while you were in the stores?
I did. And I actually thought it was pretty fun. It was really cool to go and scan the stuff. I will admit it did take me a minute to figure out that you could just tap for a picture or hold for a video because it says tap and hold. So I was like, tap and hold. And I was like, well, everything's a video. And I was like, what is this? And so I finally figured that out. But I will say that the first day, it was a little hard to get it oriented right to where the droids didn't just roll out of frame, and I finally, we started to master it. And I didn't get any, got some on Saturday, some on Friday, but I didn't do any on Sunday. So I didn't get any of the like cool unlockable thingies because I didn't complete anything, but it was pretty neat.
Yeah.
The standees should still be there. Like they're not going anywhere. So you should still be able to unlock all 15 and get it all. But yeah, it definitely took one of the things I noticed and I thought they might do is unlock, like started an hour before midnight because it was geo, location. So people were standing there, they could start doing it beforehand, but they didn't. So when I experienced in the store was somebody was trying to get their, picture taken and someone would walk right in front.
Yes.
To go get, I see something over there. So kind of the way they had it set up wasn't necessarily user friendly. So maybe the people who were setting up in the stores didn't realize that right in front of that thing, something was going to appear that you wanted to take a picture of or with. But
yeah, that was definitely our take. Like James Burns and Richard and I at Toys R Us, the stand should have been outside for the people waiting in line to have something to do while they waited and post on their social media and, get the word out there that this is Force Friday and there's new Star Wars stuff. So that was something. But also, I forgot about this until right now, but at Toys R Us, who's the giraffe? What's his name?
Jeffrey
the giraffe turned up. And so I have a picture of Jeffrey holding a little porg. It's so cute.
Aww.
So I need to post that at some point. But that's, I don't know. I just made me think of that. But yes, I was trying out all those ARs around Toys R Us at least. And it was okay that the people would get in the way, but then you just wait for them to get out of the way. And there was plenty of people trying it too. So
yes.
The message had gotten out.
My favorite, though, is the occasional person who was just like, oh, I'm going to take a picture with the standee. We're like, no, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You can have a little fun with this. So I'm like, do that again. I'll take a video. And I'm like, see, look what you're doing there. And they're like, oh, I got to get that. And I'm like, well, hook up to the Wi-Fi because it's going to take you a minute.
Yeah, I was one of the only ones doing it until people saw and they were like, what are you doing? And I showed them.
Yes.
And they were really going, oh, that would be really cool. Let me get the app and stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I think more and more people are figuring out as they see people doing it. So,
yeah. Now, was there something that you wanted but did not get this time around?
Not really. But the thing I want, I don't think they have made yet or announced that they're making, which is a Rose character car. That's actually not on the list right now.
That'd be
so
cool.
I'm hoping that there is one coming. Now, there is a Star Wars character sweatshirt at Target that I really like that I haven't picked up.
Okay.
That has a port on it. So.
Funnily enough, the thing I didn't get was at Target. It was the Raglan tee with the big Star Wars and Rey with her lightsaber. That's so awesome.
The one that I got?
Yeah, probably the one you got. The one I saw on social media. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. But I just have so many t-shirts. But
it's a great shirt. I'll tell you right now, you need to get it because it's so soft and it's super lightweight. Like I could even wear it in Texas with it being hot outside and it was fine.
Okay.
So it's a good shirt. Really well done shirt. What about you, Tricia? Anything?
There was a lot of fashion stuff that I didn't get that I have to sit down and look and decide. So there's a little Ewok shirt from her universe. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so cute. So, there's some things like that. And I didn't get they didn't have the Funko with his wings out.
Yeah.
The
Target.
Yeah. So they didn't have that. So I didn't get that, but it was gone. So that's the only one I'm looking for.
Well, and the Ewok shirt has made me question our ending to this show.
Oh, what's it say?
Nub Nub.
Yes, it does say Nub Nub.
And here's the thing. I found out, I watched the Her Universe live video, and they thought it was Yub Nub.
It is Yub Nub.
And we think it's Yub Yub.
No, it is Yub Nub is how they usually say it. Yes.
And so I guess what she was saying is that they went and they had it as Yub Nub on the shirt originally, and then Lucasfilm or someone corrected it to Nub Nub.
What?
That's what she said in the video, the live video on her Facebook page. You can go check it out. So I'm very confused now. I feel like I've been lied to for my entire life.
Oh no, and we need to rethink our lives. Go home and rethink.
Basically.
No, it can be whatever.
All right.
Now, one thing we haven't talked about that was really super cool were some of the Lego sets that came out, and one specifically because Tricia, I know you tweet and Instagram and probably Tumblr with this a lot, which is hashtag BB8 awesome, and there is an amazing BB8 Lego set that came out, and it's about $100, but I really, really want it, and I think it's going to go on my Christmas list. But did you guys get to see that in person?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it at the Disney store. I was like, oh, amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I can't wait to get that. And speaking of Lego stuff,
we have a little interview. I got to sit down with Bob Roth and Bill Motz from Star Wars Lego, the Freemaker Adventures, and talk a little bit about making the season, what it was like. This is definitely a spoiler-filled discussion because if you haven't binged it, it's out there. You can watch the whole thing. So we talk about it being bingeable and the effects and just a lot of the fun stuff. So let's have a listen.
You know I like my briefings brief. So let's do this, and may the Force be with you.
Welcome, Bill Motz, to Fangirls Going Rogue.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be a part of this.
And also Bob Roth.
Hello, everybody. I'm excited.
All right. Well, I have to say that I'm not much of a binge watcher, but it was fun to binge watch the Freemaker Adventures.
Well, they didn't give you much of a choice this season. If you wanted to keep up, you had to binge.
Well, and people can still catch up. So, but that was just, that seems to be the way more shows are getting put out. So did it create challenges in doing the show because you had to have it already?
I mean, I think we always look at it because that is such the wave of the current and the future. I think binging that we scripted with an eye toward that's a way that maybe audience would be watching.
Yeah, when we were writing and even through most of post, we had no idea it was going to air, one after another, after another. So yeah, it wasn't something we had conscious in our heads. We've got to be sure it's bingeable, but it's a little bit of a serialized show. They have to be viewed in order. They're not, we don't hit the reset button at the end of every 22 minutes. So yes and no is the answer, because we certainly wanted to make sure it was future-proof and bingeable, because, like Bill says, that's the future.
That is the future. Does it change in any way the experience of the feedback and how you're experiencing it on the post end as opposed to last season when you were, had a week at a time?
Yes, it does. It all comes at you a heck of a lot faster. And I don't know, it seems there's still some dialogue online trickling in, but it hit like a wave, and then once it was over,
it's over.
It's over. You're like, hey, that was a whole year of our lives, and it was over in 2 weeks.
But yeah, I also wonder, and it's something I kind of debate over. For example, in first season we had that episode where Rowan goes off by himself and leaves his siblings, and I liked the idea that the audience had a week to worry about that. The somehow how's it going to play out, and they can think about it and kind of grapple with it. But when you binge, you're going to get that tension resolved pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And I don't. So I mean, it's an intense experience, but I also kind of miss that sort of longer angst.
Yeah, it was. A week was the bare minimum in a way. Like, we had 3 years to contemplate: is Han Solo dead? Did the carbonite kill him? Is he never going to come back? And, clearly there's a generation who grew up after us who watched all this on VHS and later DVD and Blu-ray and streaming and, love those movies as much as we loved them. But they never had to suffer through the 3 years of angst of, is that the end of Han Solo? Could that be it?
Yeah.
Did Darth Vader lie? Like, they don't have that experience. And it's not a better or worse experience, but they get the answers right away.
Well, now they have the experience that it is the end of Han Solo.
Yeah, exactly. They get that. Now it's pretty definitive. I don't know. Darth Maul got chopped in half.
Yeah, they're going to give him robot legs, and then somehow they're like, "What? Why robot legs?" Anyway.
Well, the one good thing about binging is that we can talk about spoilers now because we've been all the way through. So you don't have to hedge and haw and, well, you'll see and that kind of stuff because, well, if you haven't seen, we're going to go ahead and talk spoilers on this one. We're going to assume that you've gone into the show. So we're going to ask questions for people who've experienced the whole thing. Did you always know when you were doing the season 2, you were going to Return of the Jedi, and were you working backwards? Just curious about kind of the process to get, because it really works with Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, we knew from the dawn of the first discussions of season 2 that it would end with Return of the Jedi. And yeah, so there was a little bit of working backwards, but it was mostly, we had to figure out what Rowan's story was and where we were going to go for the second season. Then it was a question of, we know this is the goal at the end of the field we're running down. How can we make sure we're threading the needle so we get to the right point? But yeah, the early discussions were, yes, we're going to Return of the Jedi. So.
In fact, right away we called it the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. That was our. I mean, we can't talk about why, but we knew from early on that was going to be where we were headed. So
that's awesome. One of the things that we talked about on Fangirls Going Rogue and that I noticed in my binge watching is just the beautiful diversity in the show. It just all works. Is that something that you had to work at that was a talking point, or is it just starting to happen naturally? Because if you're looking for it for someone like me, you notice it, but I don't think other people, it's going to stick out. So just curious about the process.
It's not something we had to work super hard at, but it was something we always had to be kind of conscious of.
By our own choice, right?
By our own choice, yeah.
Although
with the full support of Disney and Lucasfilm and Lego.
But for example, the Freemakers, we right away wanted them to be a family of color.
Mm-hmm. And production issues in the first season, their skin color was all over the place. I think we got a little closer to what we were looking for in season 2. But in terms of, just background characters and characters who weren't front and center, it was, I'll say this. Will Film, our overseas partners, our production studio, they are fantastic and they are great. But there's one thing about Denmark, which is a great country. If anybody gets a chance to go to Denmark, you should absolutely go. But it is a lily white country, and the notion of the default of white people is even greater over there because that's their life. So there was discussions always of, hey, let's look for characters of a more diverse background in the background, literally. And I will say, Will Film did a fantastic job of just making sure that, when it's a side character, if the design could be a white guy or a person of color, they made sure we had a really nice mixture that felt really good and representative. So hats off to Will Film.
Yes, it looks beautiful. And one of my favorite characters, and I have to giggle because the girls, we all put together the questions, but she got named Lieutenant Valerian in the notes. I'm not going to give away who said it, but yeah, there's a movie, so no, we'll take the N off. I just think it's so cute. But Lieutenant Valeria is one of my favorite characters. All of us, we love her. What was it like casting her character, and what did the actress bring to it?
Oh man, Yvette brought everything to it. We knew sort of a vague vision of what we wanted Valeria to be, but it wasn't until Yvette came in and really took the reins of that character that she became
really popped.
Yeah.
And she is a huge Star Wars fan.
Oh my gosh, yes.
She came in the first day wearing a Star Wars shirt.
And it was a Star Wars shirt, but you could tell this was a Star Wars shirt she had from, she didn't run to Target that night and get a Star Wars shirt so she could impress us. She had like a well-worn 70s era Star Wars t-shirt that you can tell she grew up with.
Yeah, and she's deep in the fandom too. Yeah. And in fact, when we first showed her rough animation of her character, she actually cried.
Yeah.
And when she actually got to say
when she got to say "May the Force be with you,"
she got very choked up.
She got choked up at that line.
Yeah, very sweet.
So yeah, Yvette Nicole Brown we're forever in her debt, and she has our undying gratitude because she was just so enthusiastic and so talented.
And she's just a delightful person in real life too. So she's fun to be around, and then you put her in the booth and she hits that attitude tough as nails with a little wry twist.
Yep.
And she and Eugene Bird are friends or acquaintances anyway in real life too. So there was a little bit of fun that they were doing the show together.
Awesome. I did not know that. He's also a favorite. He brings Xander to life.
We can't say enough good things about Eugene. We love him so much.
He's such a fan. I want to talk a little bit about MOC because he's a different kind of villain in some ways, and he thinks he's rationalizing. He's scary, but then again, I always felt like you guys would ramp up the tension, and then it wouldn't be, so there'd be some humor or something to deflect it a little bit because it is a kid's show. So it felt very safe, kind of like the Ewok showing up in Return of the Jedi. So how did those discussions go on this villain and how you wanted him to fit in the story?
Well, the very first thing we wanted to do was we we wanted a new villain, a new threat for season 2.
Yeah, we had brief discussions of should Nare come back.
And we kind of thought,
no, we've seen what Rowan versus Nare is like.
Let's do something different.
Yeah.
And so part of that doing something different was let's do somebody who's the exact opposite of Nare. So she's impulsive and rash and very emotional and driven even by her own sense of revenge and justice. Mm-hmm. And so we thought, well, let's do a droid. Let's do a droid who has no emotional investment in this at all, really, and stays cool, calm, and collected.
It is all just an equation for MOC. Just, he's working a math problem. He's not going to get riled. He's not going to get upset. And then it seemed like there were opportunities
for a lot of humor.
Especially with the Emperor, because we knew there would be a lot of scenes where he's calling in to report to the Emperor the same way we had with Nare, and we knew what the comedic dynamic there was, which was the Emperor is the galaxy's biggest jerk. So what is the fun twist with MOC?
So if he's a jerk and he's trying to get Nare's goat and does get her, and he knows it.
Right.
If he makes the same kind of snide remarks at MOC and he just takes them completely at face value, it deflates that kind of bully behavior.
Yeah, there were some good dynamics with just the Vader. It created a different dynamic with Vader and Palpatine as well.
Yeah, exactly. It played up the sort of office comedy dynamics of the Imperial Palace that, Vader is the number 2 guy, but there's somebody nipping at his heels. There's some jealousy you can feel radiating off of Vader.
Like one of my favorite lines is after Vader gets the location of where all the kyber crystals are, and and now the Death Star can be complete. Then here comes MOC with the arrowhead, and the Emperor's so excited, and he's like, "See, Vader, MOC knows how to get things done." And Vader's like, "I just found this whole planet of kyber crystals." And I love the exasperation in his read.
The Emperor, his attention span is tiny.
Yes. So what have you done for me right now? Yeah.
Speaking of the corporate cogs, we have Durpin and Plume Striker, and I want to know who writing on the show worked in the corporate world and knows these guys who are the epitome of mediocrity.
Well, I'll say early on we had Durpin in the original series Bible, and he was a completely different character. He was going to be sort of the magistrate of the wheel, and we just figured he was going to be an incompetent Imperial. And credit to one of our writers, John Banky, who in one of our very early writers meetings said, "You know what I never understood about the Imperial Officer Corps is why do they want to do a good job? Like, if you do a good job, you get promoted, and then you're standing next to Darth Vader, and inevitably, you're going to mess up, and he's going to choke you to death.
If you're that guy who's behind him, pushing just buttons on some display, you never even notice.
He's never going to pay any attention to you.
So the safest thing is middle management or lower.
Yeah, and so the credit goes to John for sort of cracking.
And we all laughed at that. Yeah. Like, that is a brilliant idea. Yeah, so why would you want to be promoted?
And Richard Kind, was so brilliant at it, so great. Another actor who just comes in and gives you one golden line after another. Once John had that notion, we all kind of collectively crafted Plume Striker as sort of, leveled Peanuts comic strips. And, there's Marcy and Peppermint Patty, and it's so clear that Marcy has so much more on the ball.
The Peppermint Patty.
But her one blind spot is she can't realize her idol, Peppermint Patty, is a complete idiot. And that struck us as a really funny thing. So let's put Marcy with a Peppermint Patty.
Yeah, so a very, very competent person somehow. Yeah,
hopelessly devoted to the idiot.
Yeah. Now that you say it, I totally see it. And it works through the whole season. When they show up and, they're back and just doing their thing, and somehow it was very well played. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we always looked for a little twist on it, and my favorite twist on all of it is their final appearance of the season, which is Plume Striker has finally given up on. He's finally realized that Durpin's an idiot, and I should be the one in charge, and he is. And that was a fun way to play.
It all falls apart. He's like, "Why do I even try?" And then he's like, "Now you get it."
So one of the fun things was to see Hera and Mon Mothma interacting there at the front of the Rebel Alliance, and Cordy getting mentored a little bit by Hera, and also balancing that with a little bit of her actually fangirling at times about the situation she was in. So how did you come, that there's definitely, you had to balance something there. So how did that happen? Why did you decide to bring her into that role?
Well, it's what is fun about seeing Cordy in that role is, and we got a little hint of it in the Luke and Leia episode last season. Cordy is, and by design, she was a character who is pretty self-confident, right? Like, you can stick her in any situation and she's pretty quickly going to recover and not flip out or lose her
bearings.
Her bearings, yeah. And we figured putting her with Mon Mothma and Hera and and Admiral Akbar, for that matter, it would suddenly be a situation where she would start to fray at the edges in a way that we haven't seen her before, and that struck us as funny. That, like, and also have a chance to shine. Yeah,
that's what she does do.
And then yes, eventually, once she had the requisite flip out, she'd recover and prove her worth. And that was, all of that struck us as both funny, which, we're always looking for the funny in the show. But also the other thing we're always looking for is good character moments. And that struck us as a moment to, highlight what makes Cordy so great, which is she's got a mind that is incredibly adept at working out problems.
Right. And there was another component that we wanted, which we were trying to be reflective of sort of what happens in families development-wise, so that eventually, as siblings age, they get more and more involved in their individual activities and lives, and they start to kind of go different directions.
Right.
And that's a bit of a crisis. It's a good crisis in most cases as kids go off to college or whatever. But it's still a crisis within a family, especially for younger siblings. And it was important that Rowan feel the pull that his siblings, for very good reasons, are not so attentive toward him anymore. That they're off on their other endeavors. And which leaves him in that isolated place where he's a little more vulnerable for falling for the trap that MLC leaves for him, which is important.
It's getting all around to, Rowan's story was sort of looking, especially early on in the season, was looking for his purpose. What can he do? Yeah. His sister's being drawn away into a leadership role. His brother is being drawn away into, a flight commander role. What does that leave for Rowan? Right. He's fulfilled his purpose. He's found the Kyber saber and made sure it stayed out of the bad guy's hands. Now what? What do you do? What do you do to follow that up, kid?
Yeah.
I like that. That all the characters they have something that's happening. It's not the plot is working to develop the characters, each one having their own, which is very nice to see. Because sometimes those side characters end up, they'll stall out and nothing will happen. So they're all doing something that's ultimately affecting Rowan's story, but they're still getting an arc. One of the ones that it was hard for me was to see Xander make his big sacrifice, they're near the end. And was there any heartbreak about making that sacrifice?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes, lots of heartbreak. And, that's when we knew that we had to do it. Like, when it hurts, and you can feel it hurt, when it hurts you, it's going to really hurt your character.
It was one of the things I remember when I saw the original Star Wars in theaters, because, I'm old enough that happened. But, I had been to see a number of films that were sort of age appropriate, and main characters don't die, or and then suddenly there's Obi-Wan, sacrificing himself, letting him be struck down by Darth Vader, so Luke and company have a chance to get away. And I remember just being completely shocked that that the power of that moment felt overwhelming and yet authentic to me at the same time. And I kind of thought, yeah, and so it's not the Star Scavenger, for example, is not a flesh and blood thing, but you come to love it, like the Enterprise, they did in Star Trek as well. That
it's their home.
Their home.
It's the only thing they took from the wheel, and it's the only thing that's been consistent for them from the opening moments of Series 1 through the end of the 11th episode.
And then it gets rebuilt as a different ship, but it's not the same ship.
Right.
And I think that's also sort of a metaphor of you kind of go through these experiences and you can have something like it, but it's never quite exactly how it was before.
Right.
Anyway, so not to be too deep about it, but we also thought it'd be really cool.
It was very, very deep, and it all lends ultimately to the lessons that Rowan learns in the story, because he is insertion for the kids into this, their kind of accessibility. And what did you, when you were looking to write his story and do this second time around with him, what did you want kids to take away from Rowan?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah,
I think we haven't been shy about saying how much we love all the episodes. We're very proud of every last episode, but we're particularly proud of the scene between Cordy and Rowan late in the Pit and the Pinnacle, which is where Cordy says, you're right, the dark side's never going to stop, so that's why we have to be brave and we have to keep fighting the good fight. If we could distill down the 2 seasons to the message we'd want to send to people, not even necessarily children, but just fans of our show. I think if we could distill down our entire career, it would be that scene. I think that's the moment we'd point to and say, life can be rough, life can be hard, and you got to keep fighting.
Yeah, it was like that was a striking moment. It was sort of realizing that she was going to have to, she was kind of taking away his innocence in a way, just saying, you protect kids. And then you're like, well, I can't protect you anymore from this. I can't protect you from the situation. You're just, that's it.
It's a tough admission for Cordy because her entire existence is built around trying to protect her brothers.
It also takes away Rowan's certainty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the funny thing is, all the stuff that he's worried about could happen actually happen.
Happens, yeah.
And
he's right to be worried.
Yeah, he's right to be worried. And
but at the same time, if he hadn't done it, the Rebel fleet would have been wiped out, and there never would have been a Return of the Jedi. Because that would have been the end.
That would have been the end. So it's that thing about sometimes you're not certain about what the outcome is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
The best you could do is just try your best and do what you think is the right thing to do and hope that it plays out in a good way and makes the world a better place.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm going to start winding this down, but there's a very important thing happening for Star Wars fans at the end of this week. So we're recording right before Force Friday. And so I want to know, are you guys going out? Are you doing the Force Friday thing? Are you going to be looking for something? Do you have your eye on something special?
Oh, boy. So here's the thing.
You've asked a delicious question. This is great. This is torture for Bob, just so you know.
Well, there's 2 things to say. One, I have what I call the Superman Returns rule, which is my self-imposed rule that I don't buy any toy from any movie before I see the movie. Because I'm convinced when I buy the toy before I see the movie, I've ruined the movie. So you can figure out why it's called the Superman Returns rule.
Yeah, he's worried of jinxing it.
Yeah. And by the way, so that said, I also have just gone. Yeah, we've posted. If people search for Rancho Rowan online, they can see pictures of it. My guest house was full from head to toe of Star Wars memorabilia. From the baseboards up to the ceiling and on the ceiling as well. We just moved. My wife and I and children, we moved to a bigger house, and I'm in the process of setting up a new Rancho Rowan, a new slightly larger Rancho Rowan, but right now everything is in like 1,000 boxes. And I can't, in good conscience, add to that pile until I've gotten everything out of the boxes. So
which means all this stuff is just torture for Bob.
Yeah, it's torture because I want a new Luke figure so badly. Luke Skywalker is my all-time favorite character. I want an old man Luke figure so badly, and I would be willing to violate the Superman Returns rule to get an old man Luke, but honestly, I have nowhere to put him right now. So I'll just wait. I'm sure I'm gonna. The beautiful thing is these toys are going to be with us for a good long time. And then eBay makes everything available. So I'm going to just have to be patient for once in my life and not run out and buy stuff.
Now, and whereas I don't necessarily follow that discipline.
Yeah, Friday morning you may find me at Target with arms full going, I had to have it all!
That's my bet. That's honestly...
I needed a porg!
But yeah, the porgs are just too darn cute, and I think I might have to send one to my daughter who's away at college, so...
Oh yeah, they have the bedding porgs, the pillow porgs.
Oh, really?
I can't. I'm like, I almost have to like not watch Twitter. I'm like, oh, I want that, and I want that, and I want that.
What about? We have to ask. What do you have your eye on? What's the special thing you need?
Anything Rey. And there's a little droid that's a little buildable droid that I got my eye on. So that definitely.
Buildable out of bricks, perhaps?
It's not. It's actually not Lego.
Oh. Wow.
Well, we have to terminate this conversation.
Yeah. I would call it scientific Lego in a way. But I think when everybody sees it.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, they'll be really excited. So. But thank you so much for taking time to talk about the show.
Oh, we're always happy to.
Yes. Our families are sick of hearing us talk about it, so
please just go do what you have to do and leave us alone.
Oh, well, again, let's remind people where they can find you guys on Twitter.
All right. Well, I am at Inevitably Bill.
And I'm at Automatic Gravy.
Yes, and if you go listen to the first episode for the Freemaker Adventures on Fangirls Going Rogue, you can hear how that Automatic Gravy name came about. So we do have that story.
Yep, you can.
Dinah's Chicken and Glendale or wherever it is.
Yeah, Glendale.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
We always have fun being on your show and appreciate you getting the word out on our show.
Mm-hmm.
We look forward to maybe more adventures in time.
Sidious, Anakin, Luke and Leia, Qui-Gon Jinn, C.O. Bibble, Kylo Ren, Salacious Crumb, Bib Fortuna, Boba Fett, Amidala, Wicket, R2-D2, BB-8, I can barely keep it straight. It's a character discussion. It's the Fangirls on Character. It's a character discussion.
So did you guys follow the white Loth cat this weekend?
Is this like the new Chickafant?
Yeah, so it's Dave Filoni, showrunner of all things Rebels, Star Wars Rebels. He was on a little trip and he kept tweeting, follow the white Loth cat, and pictures of his little, like Chickafant, his little white Loth cat, which you could have gotten at Celebration Europe, and took pictures everywhere going on the way to Toronto and Fan Expo. And there they had a panel and they premiered the trailer for season 4, other than what we saw at Celebration. So this one's a little bit more of a deep dive. We could see stuff. So this is kind of going to be our character discussion. We're going to briefly talk about what excited us in that trailer, because we had some pretty awesome character moments.
Ezra! What happened?
Lothra, Lothcat, Lothwolf, run. Pick a path, and all is done.
War's raging.
It's time for you to prove your loyalty, not just to your family, but to all of Mandalore.
If you continue to allow this war to be fought on the Empire's terms, you are going to lose.
We are not ready for open war.
What about Lothal? We promised my people support.
You can run Mon Mothma's errands, or do something that might actually matter.
Your TIE defender is at risk. Krennic has been quite persuasive about his own project. Stardust.
What about the blockade and Admiral Thrawn?
Are you confident your ship can get in and out undetected?
We don't call it the Ghost for nothing.
Woo! Got him!
Capture Captain Singular.
It will be done.
Ezra. It's not whether or not we fight.
It's how we choose to fight that matters. Maybe we're choosing the wrong way.
When are you going to feel you've done enough for this rebellion?
Guess I never really thought about it.
So I guess you really never thought about us.
Don't move!
Oh, I'm moving.
We will not stand down. We will not be broken by fear. We are strong, united by our courage. Now is our time.
I wish I could see you.
You could always see me.
That trailer was packed full of stuff. You have to watch that multiple times in order to really fully digest it. I knew it came out, but I waited until I could watch it airplayed to my TV at home. And the entire time, I think my mouth was open while I was watching it. And I know my husband came and tried to talk to me at some point, and I just like shushed him. And my hand just stayed out behind me like, be quiet until it was over. And then I was like, whoa.
Well, and the Loth cat, the white Loth cat, shows up peeking over the head of the Loth wolf. So we followed the white Loth cat to apparently a white Loth wolf,
who apparently is not Ahsoka.
Nope.
They kind of made that.
Yeah, Dave wanted to make that clear.
Yes, he did. So let's then pick out something that stood out to you, Tricia. What stood out to you?
Well, there's so many things. I mean, there's Sabine and there's Rook going after Hera. So that's the Nograi from Thrawn, but definitely the wolves walking together and everything. And I can't tell the way it's cut, but there's kind of a shot where it looks like the wolves and then Kanan might be reaching for his lightsaber, or at least puts its hand to it. I don't know. I don't know if those are interrelated, but they seem so close together. And I'm like, what's going to happen? Makes me nervous. And then Ezra is talking about maybe there's a different way to fight, but because we know during everything, he was very tempted by Maul's approach, and we see Saw Gerrera in there, and he would be a temptation again to get to a more of a, taking up arms and going at the Empire, which was his approach. So I don't know, that all that stuff kind of there's a lot to take in. What about you, Sarah?
Well, I know within the trailer they did mention, going off that Saw Gerrera, they did mention something about Stardust in there. So they are tying Rebels Season 4 in with Rogue One, which I think is really neat. But the thing that stands out to me most, and this goes back to all the Legends novels, is of course Rook and Thrawn sending Rook on a mission to kidnap Hera. And to me, I just can't wait to see another character from those Timothy Zahn novels. I mean, that just excites me no end, having grown up with those novels in my head.
All right. Well, for me, there was a couple of things. Definitely the mention of Krennic and Stardust and Saw and all of the stuff tying it into Rogue One. That was really, really huge for me. And then the moment between Hera and Kanan, when Kanan says, "I wish I could see you," and she says, "You can always see me," I was just like, oh my God, what is happening? So those were kind of the things that really stood out to me the most. But there was just, a lot of it I did notice is the Mando stuff, which we know is the first 2 episodes of the season. So as they usually do, they kind of steer the trailer more towards what's happening in the beginning. And then we've seen it before. And then they hit on a few things that are happening throughout the rest of the season. Because we know there will be a break, and then we'll get another mid-season trailer if it's traditional of how they do it. And I think I saw that the season premiere is October 16th is the date.
That's correct. I cannot wait till that day, and we'll be probably live tweeting, right, everyone?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to have some, you could have your season 3 Blu-ray, and there's some opportunities. We're probably going to try to do some watches beforehand together, to get ourselves back in the frame of mind of doing it. Even on StarWars.com, the article, Things to See in the Trailer, one of their lines is Canera. They're bullets. So thank you, Justin Bolger, for just we're not even going to be shy, because remember, we'd all be like, oh, Kanan and Hera. And they're like, oh, no, what are you talking about? So
yeah, they've finally given in.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they finally have given in to the shippers. But then a lot of people are like, well, that means they're doomed. It won't work out well. A lot of people are really in that mindset. And I don't want to get in that doomed mindset yet. Although, especially when he has that moment, like Tricia, you mentioned in there. So what is going to happen and where are we going to go? So I'm so excited. A lot of people have talked about around October 16th is when they think the trailer is going to drop too.
For The Last Jedi?
Yes.
It would make sense because that's Monday night, which is Monday Night Football, which is the same way that it was last year.
Yes.
So that would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, and that's a Monday night, but from what I've heard, the show is actually running on Saturdays. So it might be like a run on Monday night and then run it every day, and then they could put the trailer in too, type of thing. So, I mean, that's about the time, and it's going to be probably a Monday Night Football and run it before and then have it in. That's kind of what I've been seeing. So I'm ready. It's weird because last time I think it felt like we got more stuff with The Force Awakens, although we knew nothing.
Right.
We got a lot with the season 4 trailer and we still know nothing. So they could show us a lot of things. So
yeah,
I still
agree.
have no idea what's going on. You do get a little bit of the vibe where you can see that there's Thrawn. Why would Thrawn not matter? They're going to have to make him not matter in A New Hope, right? So they're talking about a little bit of Krennic versus Thrawn, his little project versus Krennic's project, and how that all plays together. So they kind of had to tie that up, and you can see that they're probably going to with this season, as well as tying everything else up.
Wow.
Oh, it's going to be, I'm excited, but also super scared and not excited.
Teresa's probably back. Are you thinking more about after October 16th, how it just starts to snowball?
Yes.
Yeah. But it's more of I love Rebels and I love the characters in Rebels, but even more so, I love our voice acting team that's in Rebels. And now, once again, kind of like the Clone Wars, they're done and gone. And it makes me really sad.
Yeah. But they'll be doing new stuff. Maybe not Star Wars.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
And before October 16th, there should be some more Forces of Destiny, too, I believe, at the beginning
that's true.
Of October and possibly the next wave.
Yay!
So,
yeah. That's all we need. More toys.
I'm so excited. Yay.
Sarah she's going to have, what did your mom call them?
She calls them Force Chicks. She was texting me the other day going, oh, your force chicks were wandering all around the office. I don't know what mayhem they'll get up to by the time you get back home. I love it.
That's funny. That is funny. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of the show. And as we talked about in our last full episode, our 50th episode is coming up. So if you wanted to be involved and learn how to participate, just stay tuned to our social media to find out about all of the exciting things we want to do for our 50th episode. But in between now and then, you can visit us over at fangirlsgoingrogue.com. You can find us on Twitter. We are at FGGoingRogue. Tricia is at Fangirl Cantina. I am at Ice Cold Penguin. Sarah is at Jedi Tink. And Sandra, our social media manager, is at Geek Chic 9.
You can email us, contact@fangirlsgoingrogue.com. Facebook, just type Fangirls Going Rogue. Tumblr, fangirlsgoingrogue.tumblr.com. And I'm not going to lie, there's a lot of porgs in there and Chimera.
And a great way to get to know other Yub Cubbers is to join our Facebook group. So just search Facebook for Fangirls Going Rogue group and answer the 2 questions that come up. You must answer those questions before we will let you in. That is your price to pay. And also, we are on Instagram. We are at FG Going Rogue. And if you'd like to leave us a voicemail, maybe let us know what you got, how many porg things you got for Force Friday, then you can leave us a voicemail. We are 33121 Ewoks. And you can also find us on YouTube. We are Fangirls Going Rogue. Just search YouTube for that.
And please go to iTunes and leave a positive 5-star review. We need your reviews so more people can find us. In fact, we got a really nice review from Den Skysinger. Thank you so much for that lovely review.
So until next time, nub nub or da 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 yub
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 nub yub. That was like a boy band ending there.
Oh boy.
Is there a Porg Petco toy? I know there's the at that's in this picture and the Phasma.
Yes.
There is? Okay.
Someone who said they had one and someone asked, I didn't see that one. They said Petco, but I went to Petco and I couldn't find it. So apparently they're gone.
Oh. Nice. And a great way to get to know other Yub Dubbers. Right? That's what
Cubbers.
Why do I always say that wrong? All right. And a great